Jessica.
And I'm Jessica, and together we are the Wine Mouths.
Welcome back to What's in the Bag? We are on our series about terroir, so we're talking about the environment in which grapes are growing. And we are on to our third wine, number 3. Almost halfway there at the end of this. But without further ado, we are going to dive into an Australian Shiraz.
All right, so we are drinking Shiraz, and this one is from southeastern Australia, Molly Point.
Yeah. So we're talking about terroir, and we would not be able to do this if we did not talk about Australia. Australia is a very large continent, but a very small part of it is for grape growing. Northern Australia is subtropical climate. The interior is desert and way too hot. So all the grapes are pretty much grown in the southeast coastline of Australia. Australia is a New World country, which means it's not into that old quality system, and they're a little less focused on terroir actually. And Australia is a big player in the game. You see a lot of affordable Australian wines on the marketplace, so there's a lot of people drinking it.
Yeah. So Shiraz is a grape, which is actually the French grape Syrah, but somewhere along the way Australia was like, gosh darn it, we're Australians, we're gonna rebrand this and call it what we want, and that's gonna be Shiraz. So imagine that with an Australian accent, and it might sound a little more palatable. So Shiraz is or Syrah, if you want to think of it that way, is a very full-bodied red. So it goes all the way to the end of the spectrum. It's one of probably the fullest bodied red that there is. So,
yeah. And we're going to use this wine to talk about climate. Australia is a very warm area, so we're going to dive into climate as a piece of terroir. So for starters, grape growing countries are usually divided into warm versus cool climate. Australia is clearly a warm climate, but kind of the difference there, warm climates, the grapes get to ripen more fully, and so you get higher sugars in your grapes, which turns into higher alcohol. So usually warmer climates have higher alcohol reds, and you get more of that ripe, jammy fruit. They're very fruit forward. And then on the flip side, cool climate, you have more acid in your fruit, so they're more lean, sharp, acidic. And a lot of times you'll see kind of infographics with all the words of descriptors, but if you have a Shiraz from Australia versus a Syrah from France, they're going to taste very different just because of the climate alone.
So further to that, we have continental versus maritime climates. So continental, it's bounded by a landmass, continental, and that means that the temperatures are going to fluctuate more because you don't have water helping to hold that temperature pretty stable. Versus the maritime, so the water is a heat sink, and that actually helps to extend the growing season a little bit. So along the coastlines and that area, you actually get a little bit longer of a growing season because of the water.
Yeah, and I think some of the older grape growing regions more historically are maritime climates. It's just more recently New World where we're like, yeah, we're gonna grow them anywhere.
Yeah, we can do it.
Also with growing grapes, you have the length of the growing season, which seems pretty obvious. Any crop, you have a growing season. For grapes, it's important because each different variety, so each different grape has its own parameter of how many days it needs in its growing season to get to full ripeness. Usually it's about 150 to 180 days, and they're called frost-free days. So it's pretty obvious, but the number of days that you do not have frost. So that's kind of your growing season. And like I said, different varieties have different parameters. So, you know, your grapes you associate with cold climates, like a Riesling, will have less frost-free days required than maybe a Shiraz or Syrah.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's where hybrids and different grapes come into play because they might have been bred for a specific reason to, you know, fit where they're trying to grow the grapes because you get more frost-free days or something. So what happens then if it's too hot or too cold? You don't get the number of frost-free days that you're looking for. Well, not really. But just what happens, what happens if it's too hot or too cold for those grapes? If it's too hot, like above 86 to 90 degrees, photosynthesis actually slows down. And then if it's too cold, like -8 degrees, then the vines actually die.
Yeah, so a lot of times we're like, yes, we want warm climates for grapes, but that has an asterisk.
Yeah.
So above 90 is actually too hot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time to taste.
All right. See what that temperature of Australia does to this.
Yeah, very fruity. Like a fruity assault on the nose. That's good. But also a little peppery, a little spicy.
Yeah. Your dark fruits, like your blackberry.
Blueberry.
But yeah, I definitely get the pepper. A little bit of vanilla.
Yeah. Some clove and other spice. Ooh, those tannins grab ya.
This is one of those wines you need with food. But it would be very good with a big old steak.
Yeah, that would be nice.
For a burger. Fancy burger.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff on it. Yeah, this is the type of wine you can pair with your bolder foods.
That's good. Yeah, so you definitely can get the warmer climate coming through with those riper, jammier fruits. It's good.
Yeah.
So in North Carolina, there's at least one place that I can think of that's growing Syrah, and that's Junius Lindsay in Lexington. So they do a Syrah down there.
Yeah. And we tried to Google others, but
let us know.
Let us know if you are growing Syrah.
Yeah. And we'll make sure we update.
Yes. But we hope you learned a little bit about climate.
Yeah.
And you should go out and try a Shiraz from Australia and potentially pair it against a Syrah from France and see if you can taste the difference that the climate does.
Yeah. Good luck. And don't forget,
Embrace your wine mouth.